Welcome to Real Estate Agent Superstars. From groundbreaking strategies to personal stories of triumph, we're here to uncover the secrets behind the success of the real estate industry's elite. And now, here is your host, R.J. Baxter.
Welcome to the show, Kari. I really appreciate you being on.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. This is a first for me.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate you taking that risk and putting yourself out there, because it definitely takes guts, and everybody likes to do this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I really wanted to have you on the podcast because you've been in the business a long time, 20 years, from my understanding. And I just think that kind of longevity is impressive. You made it through the housing crisis in '08. You've made it through COVID, the recent changes we've seen. What has been the secret to your longevity and how you've made it through all these years?
I would say I just keep trucking. Just keep going with the communicate with friends,
Mhm.
keep your information out there, and always try to give. So I kind of lean as it towards, every transaction I'm in, I kind of lean it towards like a marriage. You give 150%, even if you think the other
Mhm.
person's doing 50.
Yep.
And they think they're doing 150.
Yeah.
So long as you keep doing above and beyond, and keeping them where they're in the comfort zone the whole time, then all of a sudden at the end they go, "Oh my gosh, thank you, that was easy." And then I say, "Please keep me having a job. Please keep me going and refer me." And that's pretty much how I've kept my business going, is leaning on referrals.
Pretty simple, really.
Um, it sounds simple. It probably isn't. There's
Hmm.
probably a lot of little things, the connecting, and, when you see people out and about, and then be like, "Oh, that's right, you do real estate." You gotta be like, "Oh,
Hmm.
yes, we're on. Let's go."
Yeah. Let's do it.
"Yes, I
Yeah.
do, and you're gonna ask me about the market." So, yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So,
How have things changed since you first started in the business?
a lot. A lot. So I first started in Coldwell Banker, and the employing brokers started to get foreclosures. And
Hmm.
this is in 2004. So,
Hmm.
and I had, my brother had gone into real estate, and my dad was a home builder. He tried real estate, failed, thought it was stupid. My brother was going into real estate. And then I decided to help him on the back of the office. And then all of a sudden he's like, "You can work the Springs. I can work up here." And they're like, "Here, we'll give you some deals that are bank owned." So I didn't have a real client on my side, so I just made sure everything was really great with the other agents. And
Hmm.
next thing you know, they were like, "This was easy." Okay. And so they would pass me people. I would get to know some of the buyers in the transaction. One of them came to me later. I didn't realize they
Hmm.
had a bad transaction. So yeah, it started really small with little things, and then I had a few people at my husband's work that trusted me at the very beginning, and
Hmm.
that blossomed into tons of others. And now I've have generations of families that, like, this is our agent. This is our family agent. Like, I'm the aunt that, like, she just comes along with family. So that is a huge honor in my world to be introduced like that. So, but yeah,
Yeah.
Coldwell Banker to Remax Masters, and then over to Remax Leaders, just kind of keeping the same balloon because people know it.
Hmm.
So, and you're
Hmm.
always seeing how it works financially as you go. So yeah.
Nice. Nice. So you mentioned how you would get comments from buyers that you made it so easy. Is that something that you excel at? How do you make transactions easy for people?
One, lots of communication, and
Hmm.
figuring out from the beginning where their fears are, what makes them happy, what their communication skills are. Like,
Hmm.
I've had clients where you try to reach them on the phone, and you're barely reaching them, but texting, kind of hitting them at their own level of
Hmm.
where they're comfortable so that you can do it often. More is always better in communicating with them.
Hmm.
And then kind of giving them a heads up. There's gonna be bumps in the road. I have not had okay, I have had a handful of transactions that just you're waiting for a shoe to drop, and a shoe didn't
Hmm.
drop. But there's always some weird quirks with every single deal. I give them a heads up at the beginning that we might see something come in at the inspection. You think the house is perfect, Mr. Seller, but something will come up. Or buyers, yes, it feels like the lender wants your firstborn child. That is normal. And then with the tell them that like as the transaction's going, I am working behind the scenes all the time. And if it's an issue, you're going to know about it. If I can fix it without you having to stress over it, I'm going to fix it. I'm going
Mhm.
to get you what you need and fill you in as we get it fixed. And
Mhm.
just try to make sure that it's done in a timely manner so they don't have to stress out about it. One of them was that I could not fix. A client coming from New York had like the fancy black card, credit card, and their
Mm.
lifestyle was completely changing from New York, fast, lot of money to smaller job. And the lender was a new build lender. They don't care about you. Uh,
Oh yeah.
it's not as personable of a situation. And I got a note saying that she had to cancel that card. And I was like, okay, well, they're not having fun at this moment. So I think I need to be the one that tells them that.
Mhm.
And yeah, it was losing her identity and having to close that card because the house they were purchasing was smaller than the loan balance that they had available to them on that card.
Wow, really?
Yeah. So the lender was scared to have that open of a credit line when they were purchasing a house. And I was like, let me explain it first. Let me come in and explain why, and then you can put the hammer down when it really has to be
Right, right.
closed. But stuff like that, I feel like I can help. So
Is that your assistant?
that was my assistant, and I had them separate so they wouldn't do that. Um, but so having that kind of set up in that communication so that I can hopefully ease the situation. I couldn't fix it. We still had to close the darn card, but it
Mhm.
it did help.
Yeah. It's back to that 150% you're talking about. Yeah.
I'm gonna, sorry, make that noise go away.
Oh, no problem. um, what's the
Life things happen, right? We have to
totally, yeah. I mean,
roll with it.
we're doing this on it's basically like Zoom, so I mean those kinds of things happen. We're all used to that these days.
Like, go away. So
Yeah, roll with the punches.
yeah.
Um, what's the best compliment you've ever received from a client?
Well, there's been a lot. Um, I really think that you ask for feedback after, please give me a review if you feel up for it.
Mhm.
Um, I've had a few that just, bring me to tears. Like I didn't realize like how hard of a process they thought it was going to be, or they're like, yeah, we have to move here for a job. And then they throw in just how comforting and the situation and just how much love that they
Mhm.
throw into that. I had one where both husband and wife did separate ones, and they
Mhm.
were both extremely heartwarming, but from different angles. And both of them said how many houses were completely different. One was like, we saw 40 houses, and the other one was like, we saw 80 houses. 80 was more appropriate, but
Okay.
yeah. And I think when they mention that you're kind of like family and you've worked with like mom and dad, and then mom and dad say, you ready to buy a house, child? Here's your agent. And then you
Mhm.
help their children buy a house, and then they say, okay, it's time for our parents, grandparents, it's time for them to move to assisted living, it's time for you to sell their house, and by the way, Aunt Susan, she's about ready to need an agent. When you get to that many
Mhm.
level where are invited to the wedding and as many people as like the cousins,
Yeah.
that's a compliment. That is
That is it.
fantastic.
That's huge.
It is.
That's really cool. You've mentioned reviews. Where do you use a certain platform for your reviews?
I don't. I do have a few friend agents that like rate my agent. I
Okay.
haven't jumped into that. I just I'm like, here's a Google link. Here, yeah. And here's the Zillow way to review, and then I cut and I paste it. So yeah, and at one point there was
Yeah.
a platform where agents could rate the other agents they worked with, and I
Mhm.
would also save those, but I can't find that platform anymore. I
You
don't
can
know.
do that on Google.
Yeah.
Peer-to-peer reviews. You can't do it on Zillow though. Sounds like you know that already.
Yeah, it was a whole nother website, but I kind of want to do that. I'll look on Google because I feel like
Yeah,
we should have each other's back more.
totally.
Um, I've mentored a few agents here and there, just a little bit through our office. I've had at least one teammate for a little bit that I got to bring up from just getting his license.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I feel like it's great if we can support each other and give each other ideas. The Facebook groups giving ideas is fantastic. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Do you have some favorite Facebook groups that are outside of Remax that anyone could participate in?
I do have just like, and you could do it for any larger company. We do have like ladies
Mm-hmm.
of Remax, so that's
Mm-hmm.
one where I've gotten leads from and given leads to. But there's like pop buys, for just ideas for different pop buys.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
And there was another one. Um, I think it was something just giving you ideas for social posts.
Okay.
I've kind of fallen off on that one. So
I was going to say, I've heard you're big on social media.
just a little bit. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
not as much as I should. And I always get frustrated when I find something that looks really good in a Facebook format and I'm like, "Okay, Instagram." And then it looks like crap on Instagram and I'm like, "Mm." Or vice versa. You're like, "Okay, got it." And then you send it So yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I'm right there with you. I know a lot
yeah.
of people are big on it, but
Yeah.
I struggle. It's
My
definitely a struggle.
dogs have a better showing on Instagram than I have on anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I should have them pretend to show houses and then maybe I'll be like the next big hit. Is
Could
have my
be.
dog.
That's actually a pretty good idea.
Yeah, somebody go for it because I
Yeah.
suck at it.
Your dog is always there with you and checking out the houses.
They have a lot of hair, so I'm not sure that
Yeah,
that
that's
the owners would let me. So yeah, I used to go through and like find the horrible things in people's houses. I
hmm.
take pictures, like the stuff that like what were they thinking? That made me so darn happy. And then you had to get permission from the listing agents. Listing
Oh
agents
yeah.
don't always want you to advertise what's bad about their place.
Well, unless you did it just anonymously, like didn't connect it to the address, right? Or could you still not do it?
You're still not supposed to do it if they can find out it was
Oh.
theirs.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I've cooled it down a little bit, and occasionally I'll throw some out that are really old. So I'm like, who's gonna know that was their house from 2007?
Right, right.
Yeah. So
One of the most clever ones I heard was someone had I think it was a little koala bear, and she would do videos in the houses at her listings and around town and whatever. And the bear was always in the video, but somewhere like tucked back behind or like on the bookshelf or
finding it.
in the plant or something. And everyone wanted to see the video to find the koala bear.
Brilliant.
Yeah, I was
Love
like,
that.
that's simple but beautiful. I
Yeah.
mean, great idea.
I thought about
Um,
the running through listings. That's really popular right now.
oh,
It would be watch Carrie break something.
right.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe that's something I've been known for with some clients. They're like, "I can't get the sink to work." I get the sink to work, it splays all over me. I've slid
Hmm.
downstairs before.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I'm fairly klutzy, so keeping it real.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, go with the klutz angle.
Yes.
I,
Yeah.
one of the best ones I saw was I think it was North Carolina or South Carolina, an agent out there, and this is years ago. And she had this listing on a golf course, and the beginning of the video, she's teeing up to take a shot, and then she swings it, and there's a sound effect of breaking glass, and she's like, "Ooh!" And then she's going to the backyard fence, and she's like looking around, like, "Should I go in? Should I go in?" And she hops the fence and goes in the back door of the house to find her ball, and then she's like, "Ooh, look at this incredible kitchen with these granite countertops." And and it had like, I don't even know, a million views.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm like, who would have
Uh,
thunk? So,
clients of mine that came from Dallas. I don't know if that agent's in Dallas, but they had one similar like that. She's like, "Do you do these videos? Look at my video of my house." I'm like, "They're really cool. That's not me. I'm so sorry." I'm like, "I'll try to find something else that's cool. I'm going to try really, really hard." But yeah.
it's a challenge for sure. I mean, you see something like that and you're like, "Oh yeah, that's a great idea," but to think of something unique like that,
Yeah.
it is a challenge.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of challenges, what's the biggest challenge you're facing right now, and what are you doing to tackle it?
My biggest challenge is sellers, sadly. I've had a lot of sellers this year.
Mhm.
And to drastically go from you can sell it no matter how it's at, what condition it's in, to buyers being able to choose and to make and be picky
Mhm.
and give wonderful feedback. I do love the wonderful feedback where they're like, paint the basement. It's dark because that
Mhm.
is something that is physically possible to do. I can't move walls easily, so paint I can do.
Yep.
Um, but it's hard on sellers to get so much negative things and then have to lower the price and then maybe fix one thing and then all of a sudden they notice something else.
Mhm.
And so the list that just keeps growing. And I mean, we are still competing with lenders, sorry, new builds that have cheaper interest rates,
Mhm.
that have newer finishes. And my clients will be like, but I have a new furnace. Well, so does the new build. It does.
Yep.
And it's painful and it hurts. And I want so much to fix it and have them be able to go on and do what they wanted to do. And we had hoped like, okay, we're expecting the average right now is 30 days on the market. And you're looking at it and you pull it up again and you're like, oh, hey, the average is now 70 and we're at 60. So we're better
Wow.
than some of the others. So yeah, that's the biggest struggle right now. And it's leaning back on some of the things that we did forever ago. Make sure you
Mhm.
have good pictures. Make sure you change your pictures up so that they're not stagnant. And because buyers are kind of scrolling, like half scrolling right now. I don't think
Mhm.
they're as eager as they have been. So if the picture looks like something they've seen for 60 days, they may not revisit it.
Mhm. So, like changing the primary picture that appears online?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay,
change the
that's
pictures,
a good idea.
change the verbiage. Thank
Mhm.
you, Chat GBT, for that. I definitely I love that I can stick in what I've put in and AI kind of changed this a little bit. AI changed this a little bit. Um, yeah, and then sadly, I have a few that we will get 2 to 3 showings when we lower the price, and then it stops. And then
Mm.
we'll lower the price slightly and get 2 to 3 showings, and then it stops.
Mm.
So to me, it shows that buyers right now are waiting for this information to come to them. They're getting the pop-ups from their favorite websites for something that has changed, but
Mhm.
not necessarily doing the full scroll themselves through them all. So
Right.
I've added that into some of my listing presentations of we might be doing little price reductions just to say, look at me, look at me. I'm still here. I am
Mhm.
not stigmatized. I am still beautiful. Love me, pick me. So yeah, and I have had ones be on the market for 40 days and then get multiple offers in one weekend.
After a price drop or just randomly?
After a price drop,
Okay.
people were just waiting. And then
Mhm.
all of a sudden, I had an open house where it was full. And we just had we had hit that magic mark where all of a sudden people were out that weekend and we got numerous offers. So yeah, just keep trucking and keep changing all the little things that might actually appeal to a buyer that they hadn't seen before. So
Mhm.
yeah, that's my struggles and what I'm trying to work through, and it's slowly getting them under contract. Some of
Yeah.
them,
Yeah.
yeah, some of them. Sorry, my client friends are a little,
One at a time,
yeah,
right?
a little more of a struggle buggle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, how are you talking to your sellers? How are you helping them to wrap their head around this and to not panic? I mean, I know we're part-time counselors as real estate agents. How are you talking to people?
That was it. We're therapy.
Mhm.
Um, I was just on a long call with a client, and we had gotten the feedback that her basement was too dark. It is dark. I mean, I put a light that stays on all the time so it doesn't look like you're going into the abyss because it's dark gray. Um, and she was so beyond every sad frustration, anger. She was in the dark place. And so when we got that feedback, but the kicker of that feedback was Client liked the house, basement was too dark. And I was like, they liked it, let's paint it. I was excited. I got the glasses half full, let's go. And she was ready for the glasses half empty. There's another thing wrong with my house that they're picking on. And so I just let her share and talk, and I found out, things had been happening with her husband.
Mm.
There's a lot more going on that week, that last 4 days since I talked to her, that she just really needed to get out. And it really wasn't necessarily there was one more thing that was picked on via feedback, um, and let her share. She does think that after the election, all of a sudden the buyers are going to come back out and it's going to sell. Let's hope.
We'll
Let's really,
see.
really hope. I don't know if there's logic there, but I'm always up for wishing. So,
Yep. I
so
mean,
that
we do have this pesky thing called the holidays coming up that, some people stand on the sideline. And this is, by the way, for those of you listening, this is late October of 2024 that we're recording this. So just as far as what the market's doing right now.
So yeah,
Um,
with election, holidays,
election coming up next week.
Colorado, we got weather coming in. Had a
Yep.
possible listing in Larkspur, and I'm like, let's
Yeah.
not start showing in December when there's snow everywhere
Yeah.
at this altitude. So yeah. Yeah.
So are some of your,
No, I have had some really good Novembers and Decembers
Mhm,
for relocation transfers.
mhm,
Uh, First, we're in Colorado, so we luck out with a lot of companies that are transferring their people, or they're letting them work from home and they can live wherever they want.
mhm.
So I'm not sure what the relocation market is going to be like in the next 4 months, but usually that's sometimes a little bit of a light through the tunnel.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you get a lot of relocation business, or is that more you're talking buyers that might come and buy your listings?
Um, yeah, my relocation hits and miss. I don't technically belong to a company where I give them my a large referral fee,
Mhm.
but I am approved through them. And then yes, it's a lot of word of mouth of, oh my gosh, I found out I can live in Colorado. Hey, Joe, who was that agent you used? I think I'm moving out there. So that's probably more where I get it from, is the
Gotcha.
word of
Just
mouth when they get to
connection.
choose.
Yeah. And you're an independent broker, right? Or no, you're with Remax.
I know through Max.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have a team?
I have had a team. I joined my brother, so we were teams for years. And then family life and things, he needed to change it up around COVID time, and he was like, I need to do something different. My friends offered me this lucrative thing to do, and so he jumped into that. That
Okay.
was the most bizarre thing ever, because I was his assistant. I was an agent along with him. I was competing, and then all of a sudden got more business than he did, and that was huge. And then all of a
Mhm.
sudden he started to taper a little bit, and then he was like, I'm done. Okay. So then I was mentoring a couple, and on the side, not sure if they wanted to switch to come over to be my team. They didn't. And then we had a family friend that was with me for kind of 2 years, but he was hit and miss. And you
Mhm.
have to look into which companies give you the most bang for the buck of what you want to pay for. I
Mhm.
I have been this balloon thing for a while, so I get deals because of the balloon thing.
Mhm.
Whereas he wasn't necessarily getting deals because of that, so he wanted to go cheaper per month, so he switched to that. So yeah, but I've loved being part of a team. There's another big team in my office that is always offering for me to come over, but then I have to lose my logo. I don't get the same
Mhm.
awards because I'm part of a team.
Mhm.
So there's some pluses and minuses, but having somebody there to talk to and kind of, I don't know, just kind of have that camaraderie together is an amazing thing. So I really see myself having more teammates at some point somehow, because
Mhm.
I think it's good, and it's nice having somebody that has your back, have your business if you can't be there presently.
For sure. I
Yeah.
don't know how you keep your head screwed on straight with how much business you do. What kind of systems and tools do you use in your business to stay organized and to run your business?
This kind of leans back to kind of doing social media and not doing social media. Paper. I have a paper planner that I can jot down notes. I can jot down conversations with my clients that I know that I can scroll back to better than my phone.
Hmm.
Um, so it is very due diligence. Every day, if you can't do it every day, every other day, sitting with that paper of who was I with, who am I talking to, who do I have to follow up with, um, just different notes on what things are getting done on my listings. I got floorings being redone, check in on the floor guy, make sure he shows up, stuff like that. So yeah, paper, and then I do have a data thing for my clients, but honestly, I like a little bit more spreadsheets. So
Okay.
I log what I've been doing each year. I log who I've talked to via spreadsheets. I feel like I can get in and out of a spreadsheet faster than I can any client data management.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Okay. So pretty old school,
I
really.
am. I am. And for those old school people out there, I started with Top Producer, which was the hardest software system to
Yeah.
maneuver just to get to a client. Yeah. So I simplified it probably too much.
My first one was ACT. Do you remember ACT?
Oh, it does sound familiar.
It was it wasn't specific to the real estate industry, but it was like a program on your computer. It wasn't even web based.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So
I think Top Producer was. I think it was. No, I don't know. No, I couldn't do it on my phone. So I guess it was somewhat computer.
yeah, I didn't even have a phone when I started in the business.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, well, I started in '02, and I think I got a BlackBerry in 2007.
Wow.
So yeah,
Wow.
it was just old fashioned flip phone and desk phone, and yeah,
That's amazing.
whole
I
different.
I had a cell phone and I didn't love my 719 number, and then I was getting my new 303 number, and it ends in like oh, and they're like, "Oh, wouldn't this be great for your job?" And I was like, "It looks." I the powers that be looked out for me that day. I got like the best phone number back then.
You do have a good number.
I do. I do. I
Yeah,
do. They think it's a now they're like, "Is that really a cell phone?" Yes, it is. Yes, it is. But
yeah.
yeah, that's how old. And the other thing that I would throw out there, um, always have a signature line on your email if you can.
Mm-hmm.
If you are sending an email or an offer or you're just checking in, if that other person can't find your phone number off of an email, you might not get the call. You might not be it. So always have a signature. If you can, change your number to a local number of where you're at because you look like you know the area better. So
Yep.
that would be why I have two phone numbers because I
Yep.
work the abyss. I work both sides. Those are some of the things that I think that agents kind of look over as being important,
Hmm.
and have a well. I say this because my voicemail is broken, but have your information like your name and your voice recorded as your voicemail outgoing message and not just a phone number.
Right. Yeah. So that
Yeah,
it says who you are and everything, not just generic.
yeah. So yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
mine's
I
broken,
agree.
but yeah, mine
I
likes
think
to give me messages a day later. Sorry. Oops. Sorry.
right. I was going to say, I think your point about the local number is so important because, yeah, I mean, you can be successful with an out of state number, but I mean, I always think, is this person new in town? Do they know the market? I think it's a big deal.
Yeah.
Or get a second number if you want to keep the old number,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Or
Yeah,
Google
Google,
numbers.
Google
Yeah.
Voice. Yep,
Yeah. And they can transfer over.
totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
I think those are the things that make you seem like you've been here for a while and you know things. Because
Exactly.
as long as I've been in it, there is still going to be something that I don't know. But if I can tell them that I've been doing this for a long time, and then they hopefully aren't as too scared when you know, the last few weeks I had a septic system that was large. The permit was small, but the system was large,
Hmm.
and the health department had not seen that before and didn't know how to handle that. Hours of time trying to remedy that
Yeah.
situation and a
Yep.
form that did not exist in the, Colorado government agency.
Hmm.
Those are the fun perks of the job right there.
I used to live in Evergreen for a long time and lots of unique properties up there. So I can empathize with what you're talking about. I had one maybe 12, 15 years ago, something like that, where it had a guest house that it was like an ADU, literally right on the road, like 2 feet off the road. And not only was the ADU not compliant according to today's rules, but the setback from the road wasn't compliant.
Oh,
But the house was built in 1941. So
okay.
another example, hours and hours and hours of research and talking to underwriters, getting the appraiser to do things.
Yeah,
That's what I love about what we do. There's always something different.
that's true.
Um, every day
Yeah.
is different. There's always challenges. I mean, to think we know it all is ridiculous.
Oh, no. No, everything is a new adventure.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
What do you enjoy most about being a real estate agent?
The people. The people, the moment when you walk into a house and you follow somebody and they get it. And it's they all of a sudden feel it. Like a lot of times you can just see them physically change.
Hmm.
Um, I had one client, he took 15 steps into a house and froze completely. And he was like, "This is it. This is it. Oh my gosh. This is my house." And I'm like, "Should we see the rest of it? Come on, come on." And it really was, it was the view and the neighborhood. And you could just see the view
Hmm.
from his 15 steps in. He hadn't even seen the beautifully updated kitchen. His wife did. But
Yeah.
um, those moments are just pure joy and just magic. And then the same is when you get that offer and said, and like in these markets where it's a little bit slower and we're sitting there and go, "Oh my gosh, I got some feedback. This is looking good. We're looking good." And then could call and be like, "I just sent you over." And I was like, it could be any offer. We're excited to get the attention to work with and to
Yeah.
negotiate. And I have to say, I love negotiating. My marriage is way better because I have somebody else to kind of go back and forth with. Um, and another little snippet. I like to just try to find the common ground. I'm always pushing to try to find the common ground. I had one deal where I thought it was falling because my buyer had no more to give. There was a problem with this house, was a trouble bubble. And my client had no more to give. And I was like, "Well, I just don't know where we can turn." And the listing agent was like, "Oh, have you thought about this?" And I was like, "I haven't thought about that." And so I said, "Okay, I'm going to go back to my buyers. Let's try again." And all of a sudden I got an email saying that this agent that I was just trying to negotiate with, and I had hit a wall and I thought I was failing, teaches the negotiation class. And I was like, "Oh my
That's
gosh, I just got an email saying you teach a negotiation class and I'm so embarrassed. This is like one of my worst times negotiating." And he's like, "Oh girl, I was going to have you come in. Like you could have told you were great." And I was like, how was I great? I was at a wall and you had to fix it." And he goes, "You gave me the opportunity to work with you to find a solution." He goes, "That's negotiation." And I was like, "Oh, sure. Sure,
100%.
we'll take it." So
Cool. Yeah.
that's
It's
cool.
a compliment.
Yeah, it's a compliment. So yeah, just keep trying. So
Totally. Well, thank you so much for being on, Carrie. I really appreciate your time. I know how busy you are.
uh, thank you for having me. This is
Yeah.
exciting and fun.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of Real Estate Agent Superstars. If you're looking to dive deeper into the world of real estate and catch more episodes, head over to our website at www.realestateagentsuperstars.com. Curious about today's guest? Explore our show notes on the website for more details. Before you go, don't forget to give us a 5-star rating and follow us on social media for the latest podcast updates. Thanks for tuning in.